What if I told you that one of the most famous retirement strategies in history might quietly fail you in 2026? For decades, millions of people trusted a simple rule: save enough money, withdraw 4% every year, and retire forever. But today, new market conditions have completely changed the math. And if you retire at the wrong time, you could run out of money years earlier than expected. So in this video, we're going to stress test the entire idea of early retirement, using real math, real market crashes, and two very different retirees, Alex and Sarah. Part 1. Alex's story and the tragic end of the 4% rule. Imagine a guy named Alex. He works 60 hours a week, saves every single penny, and finally hits his magic number, $1 million. Relying on the famous 4% rule from the 1990s, he hands in his resignation. He plans to withdraw $40,000 in year one, adjust that amount annually for inflation, and comfortably coast. On paper, Alex's plan is flawless. It is built on the classic rule of 25. The math seems simple. If Alex plans to spend $40,000 a year, he multiplies it by 25 to find his goal. Exactly $1 million. But as we enter 2026, relying on this rigid, set it and forget it plan is no longer just outdated, it is mathematically dangerous. Today's elevated stock market valuations, unpredictable inflation, and fluctuating bond yields have completely flipped the script. New research from late 2025 warns that for new retirees, a truly safe starting rate has dropped to 3.7% or 3.9%. If Alex retires into a market downturn with a rigid 4% spending plan, he risks destroying his portfolio before his journey even begins. Today, we are going to look beyond the basic spreadsheets to show you the real math of early retirement and how to make your portfolio completely crash-proof. Part 2. Alex versus Sarah. The sequence of returns risk monster. Why does a rigid plan fail? It's because of a silent portfolio killer called sequence of returns risk. To see this in action, let's compare Alex with his friend Sarah. Both retire with exactly $1 million and both plan to withdraw $40,000 in year one. Over their entire 30-year retirements, the stock market will average a perfectly healthy 7% annual return for both of them. But Alex gets hit with a severe bear market. In his very first year, the market drops by 10%. The actual portfolio decumulation math looks like this. Ending portfolio value equals starting portfolio value minus annual withdrawal times, 1 plus annual return. Let's plug in Alex's numbers for year one. Ending year one portfolio equals $1 million minus $40,000 times 1 minus 0.10 equals $864,000. In year two, inflation is 2%. To keep his buying power, Alex must increase his withdrawal to $40,800. But the market drops another 10%. Ending year two, portfolio equals $864,000 minus $40,800 times 1 minus 0.10 equals $740,880. In just 24 months, Alex has lost over a quarter of his entire principal. Because his asset base is severely depleted, he falls victim to reverse compounding. When the market eventually recovers, he has too few shares left to ride the wave back up. Now look at Sarah. She retires into a bull market and her portfolio jumps 15% in year one. Ending year one, portfolio equals $1 million minus $40,000 times 1 plus 0.15 equals $1,104,000. Even after taking her year two withdrawal, Sarah's asset base has expanded so much that she has mathematically eliminated sequence of returns risk. Same average return, but two completely different lives. Part 3, the Guyton Klinger guardrails system. So how do we protect ourselves from hitting a bad market sequence like Alex? We abandon rigid withdrawal schedules and install guardrails. Think of guardrails as a smart thermostat for your retirement paycheck. Instead of trying to guess where the stock market is going, you set two simple safety triggers based on real-world numbers. Let's say you start with a 5% withdrawal rate on a $1 million portfolio. That means you withdraw $50,000 in your first year. Now, you only watch two simple triggers. The pay cut rule. If the market drops and your portfolio shrinks down to $830,000, your $50,000 withdrawal is now over 6% of your remaining nest egg. To protect your principal, you take a temporary 10% pay cut, dropping your spending to $45,000 for that year. This gives your portfolio the breathing room it needs to recover. The raise rule: if the market booms and your portfolio surges up to $1.25 million, that same $50,000 is now less than 4% of your total wealth. You give yourself a 10% raise, bumping your spending up to $55,000. This gives you official permission to enjoy your hard-earned wealth rather than dying with a massive surplus. Because you are willing to make these minor temporary adjustments when needed, historical testing proves you can safely raise your starting withdrawal rate to between 5.2% and 5.6%. It completely removes the anxiety of a market crash. Part 4, the three-bucket architecture. While guardrails manage your cash flow, how do we structurally isolate your portfolio so you never have to sell stocks during a crash? Let's look at how Sarah survived the market crash that wiped out Alex. She didn't keep her $1 million in a single volatile stock account. Instead, she implemented the three-bucket strategy. She segmented her $1 million wealth into three distinct time horizons. Total portfolio equals cash bucket, plus bond bucket, plus growth bucket. Bucket 1 is Sarah's cash buffer. She put 2 years of living expenses here, exactly $80,000, in safe liquid cash and money market funds. Bucket 2 is Sarah's income reserve. She allocated 5 years of expenses, exactly $280,000, into stable, high-quality bonds. Bucket 3 is Sarah's growth engine. The remaining $640,000 was placed in globally diversified equities to hedge against long-term inflation. Now, here is the secret to Sarah's math. When the bear market hit and stocks fell, Alex had to sell his crashing stocks at a loss just to buy groceries. But Sarah didn't touch her stocks. For the first 2 years of the downturn, she withdrew her $40,000 annual spending directly from the cash in Bucket 1. When that ran dry, she withdrew from the stable bonds in Bucket 2. Because she had a combined 7 years of spending secured in cash and bonds, she never sold a single share of stock from Bucket 3 at a loss. Her $640,000 growth engine was left completely alone to compound through the market recovery. By the end of the recovery cycle, her cash and bond buckets were temporarily depleted, but her untouched stocks had roared back and expanded aggressively. Combined with her remaining assets, her total portfolio climbed to approximately $1.18 million. Her growth engine was fully intact, and she safely refilled her cash and bond buckets during the up years. Part 5. Alex's pivot. The Barista FIRE multiplier. But what about Alex? After watching his portfolio take a hit from his early mistakes, he realizes he doesn't want to spend another 10 years grinding in a 60-hour-a-week corporate job just to hit a massive $1.25 million nest egg. So Alex decides to pivot. He steps off the corporate treadmill early by embracing Barista FIRE. Barista FIRE target equals annual expenses minus part-time income, divided by Mamich SWR. SWR equals safe withdrawal rate. Under traditional FIRE, to spend $50,000 a year, Alex needed $1.25 million saved. But under Barista FIRE, he leaves his high-stress career and takes a low-stress part-time consulting gig in his former field that pays him $20,000 a year. Now his portfolio only needs to cover the remaining $30,000 gap. At a 4% withdrawal rate, let's see how this part-time income changes his math. Alex's new target equals $50,000 minus $20,000 times 25 equals $750,000. By earning that part-time income, Alex cuts his required portfolio goal from $1.25 million down to just $750,000. This is the power of the part-time portfolio multiplier. Portfolio reduction equals part-time income, divided by SWR. Portfolio reduction equals $20,000. 0.04 equals $500,000. Every single $1,000 of monthly part-time income Alex brings in slashes his required retirement portfolio by a staggering $300,000. It allows him to buy back his freedom and exit the corporate grind years ahead of schedule. And best of all, that active part-time income acts as a massive buffer, protecting him from sequence of returns risk because he is drawing far less from his investments during a market downturn. Conclusion: aligning math with meaning capital. Sufficiency is not a static number on a spreadsheet. It is a dynamic equation that responds to reality. To insulate your retirement from volatility, you must 1. Calculate your baseline using the rule of 25. 2. Shift from rigid withdrawals to dynamic guardrails to protect your principal. 3. Segment your portfolio using the three-bucket architecture like Sarah did. 4. Consider utilizing the Barista FIRE multiplier like Alex to reclaim your time years earlier. But remember, money is ultimately just the math that facilitates your life. So as you map out your personal journey to freedom, ask yourself, are you going to build a bulletproof bucket shield like Sarah and never look back? Or are you ready to use the part-time portfolio multiplier to buy your freedom back years early like Alex? If this breakdown helped you think differently about your money, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel,